this portion about subjecting who we charge criminally in this country and making this by popular demand. It doesn't work that way.
Hold on, Abby, what is attacking you?
Is there a mouse?
Hold on. Abby, what was that?
Abby, what was that?
A lizard climbing on me.
Oh,
Sorry.
So that's where Stelter went. I am worried. All this good news, has someone checked in on the press?
My God, it was like he had failed an Alzheimer's competency test 36 times. He said, I can't remember.
Well, they began the impeachment proceedings that this Mueller report suggests Donald Trump deserves.
This report shows what Trump practices behind the scenes look like in that White House. Everybody should be extremely worried.
It's still very damning. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
It's and politically embarrassing for the president.
And shameful.
And shameful. And unethical.
They're like the best unintentional comedy duo. Now, also, you got to check out, this is how many people they had on this CNN panel. Look at this. That's 7 people and 1 Jeffrey Toobin. Because he's not really people. But that's a lot of folks all there to say the same thing. But let's focus on Toobin.
What's significant about the 10 incidents is that there are 10 of them, and they all point in the same direction. And in each individual incident, there is a perhaps innocent explanation.
So, each incident on its own means nothing. But if you add them all up, they mean something. No, you are a moron. If each one is a 0, 10 of them still equals 0. Much like Toobin. Anyway, I've never seen so many people unhappy over good news. Your president is innocent? Be thrilled. But also, why are they so surprised when just weeks ago this happened?
Special counsel Robert Mueller concluded there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government in 2016.
That's literally a spoiler alert. The media were told what was coming, and yet they still pretended like it wasn't going to happen. But then, deja vu.
The special counsel's report did not find any evidence that members of the Trump campaign or anyone associated with the campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in these hacking operations.
So all the media got on Thursday was a reminder that they got their ass handed to them a month ago. Yet it still emotionally destroyed them. It reveals the difference between normal people and the media. See, normal people will watch a movie, and then when they see the same movie again, they expect the same ending. But the media, they watch the same thing over and over again, thinking that maybe the ending will change. Hey, maybe Old Yeller will live. Maybe the Titanic steers around the iceberg. Maybe Darth Vader isn't Luke's dad, but a progressive lesbian named Doris who knits hemp booties for homeless cats. But for us, it's the same old Die Hard. Good guy wins, bad guy loses, except it's America who wins and the media who loses. See, in this movie, America is John McClane and the media is Hans Gruber. No wonder the press is a mess. They fell out of a window from Nakatomi Plaza and made a big splat. Now they're banking on one thing, turning absence of evidence into Trump must be guilty. Rachel is already dining on that grape now.
But I watched Barr give his press conference this morning. All I did, I just ran straight to the office. There is a ton of material here. I will be busy for the next year, at least. I mean, these 448 still redacted pages that we got today, it's like walking into a vineyard and you just like eat the skin off a single grape. We would tell you if we figured out that he didn't commit any crimes. It's a roadmap for how to charge this president. We can darn sure investigate you, and you can darn sure be charged when you're out of office. You can be impeached. This is like grape one in the vineyard.
You know when you're drunk and you come home to an empty kitchen and you're starving and you start squirting ketchup packets on the heels of moldy bread? That's the media trying to turn what little they have in the kitchen into a meal. They stare at every redacted chunk as if it's going to reveal some magical bombshell. But we know better. Seriously, we actually do. We have a special redaction removal machine and used it on the Mueller report. For example, a section about Mueller's team meeting with Trump reads, "We also sought a voluntary interview with the president after more than a year of discussion. The president declined to be interviewed." The redacted part? Though the special counsel was able to confirm Greg Gutfeld can bench 550 pounds. Yeah. Must be true. It's in the reports. Here's another. This is about a Trump Tower meeting. Trump Jr., Manafort, and Kushner participated on the Trump side. The meeting lasted approximately 20 minutes. The redacted part, they cut the meeting short, however, to admire pictures of Greg Gutfeld's muscles. Can't say I blame them. One more. I sense a theme. It's about Trump's meeting with Corey Lewandowski in 2017. Quote, "By the end of the president's follow-up meeting with Lewandowski, the Greg Gutfeld Show had become the #1 show Saturdays at 10 p.m. Likely because of Greg Gutfeld's impressive physique." Mueller really understands great TV. So as frustration turns to obsession, the media is going to go through this report looking for a dangling preposition on which to hang Trump. It's like an entire industry trying to prove that the Earth is flat or the moon landing was faked. You know what would be a good prank? Announce another less redacted report in 3 weeks just to watch them fall for this a third time. You could keep doing this for years. The bottom line, the press wanted America's president to be a Russian stooge, even if that would have destroyed a country. And don't expect him to stop. They're going to push the Mueller hysteria because what else do they have? This is a pretty prosperous, peaceful era. Low unemployment, economic growth, strong military. The media can't do a thing with that. So every day on CNN or MSNBC, it's a therapy session. It's collusion anonymous. They got to talk about it every day because if they don't, they might do something horrible, like wake up one day in 2020 and, God forbid, vote for Trump.
Period. Let's welcome tonight's guest.
His name isn't the only thing that's long. So is his resume. TV writer and producer Rob Long. He is so funny, he is banned from funerals. Comedian Joe Mackey. She has a knack for not holding back. Host of the Tyrus and Tim podcast, Kat Timpf. And the Chrysler Building is his coat rack. Former WWE superstar, my massive sidekick, and host of UnPC on Fox Nation, Tyrus. All right, Rob. So there's two sections to the Mueller report.
Yes.
One answered, did Trump collude? No. The other section of the book just tells us, I think, what we already know about Trump.
Yeah.
That he gets really angry if you're coming after him.
Yeah.
That's 200 pages of that.
Yeah, book 2 is basically, this guy is kind of temperamental
Yes.
and a little bit unstable, and he starts to shout a lot, and people kind of just have to let Grandpa rant.
Yes.
And then they say, Grandpa, you know, you can't shoot the neighbor kid.
Yes.
You can't. Well, okay, well, got to do something then.
Yes.
And then he goes on to do something else.
Right.
But the reality is, like, the reason that we don't know, the reason there's no obstruction recommendation from Mueller report is because he did not ask Trump about it.
Yeah.
So the only way to get somebody for this, and isn't this great? This is like you go on TV, and I talked to a lawyer for like 10 minutes a day, so now I'm a lawyer.
Yes.
People do on TV, they go like, let me tell you something, Greg. Here's what I know.
Yes.
Here's what I hear.
Yes.
You have to get inside his brain, right? Which is, okay, that's a problem for Trump. It's kind of scrambled eggs up there. Right? No matter what.
I don't think
I mean, even if you like him, it's.
Well, no, he's
emotional.
He's an emotional
I don't think
person.
he's emotional. I just think he has a short attention span, so he moves from thing to thing.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
30. My eggs are starting to scramble, so I don't know.
Either way, you got to get inside his head.
That is an interesting commentary.
Yeah. I'm feeling sad right now, actually.
I was going for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to get inside his head.
Yeah.
You got to know what he was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't ask what he's thinking.
Right.
So you can't. There's no.
There's nothing.
There's nothing in the report for that.
But the point is, it's like, so he's mad. And he should be mad because he believes he's innocent, Joe. So he acts like an innocent man. He's pissed off. How can that be a problem? How can that be illegal, Joe?
I don't know, Greg. I'm still thinking about scrambled eggs. I'm just a little hungry myself. I don't know. To me, it seems like obstruction of justice could also be interpreted as trying to defend yourself and avoid prosecution. Because one of the things that the report outlined was that they thought that the Trump team told Michael Cohen to have his answers be short and concise. And that doesn't really sound like obstruction to me. That sounds like trying to avoid a perjury trap.
Yeah. Good point. A little insight from Joe Mackey in his odd outfit.
Why are people surprised?
So, Kat, scrambled eggs aside, are you surprised that Trump was upset about this because he believed he was innocent?
No.
No.
I'm not surprised. And honestly, he should really thank most of the media and Democrats, because if you read the report, there are certainly instances where people on his team did things that were wrong, right? But that seems like nothing when they've spent years saying that he's a literal Russian agent.
Right.
That's where they set the bar. He's a literal Russian agent, hell-bent on destroying the country. So now the things that they did wrong seem like the itziest, bitsiest, littlest of potatoes compared to that. So he should be thanking the media for completely blowing this out of proportion. And he's so lucky that they're continuing to do so.
Yes, yes. Cyrus, one of the most overlooked findings is that we should kind of be happy, right?
Yeah, no American betrayed his country for Russia. I think that's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
I think, the other side of that should be that little bee that is Russia that's been buzzing around everybody's ears, causing all these problems. Now we know that the team opposite from ours didn't do what they or put out the misinformation that they did. We should all be working on, okay, let's stop fighting and let's deal with them. Because here's the other reality. Why we've been fighting amongst ourselves, weakening ourselves, they've been having little interviews with China, they're working with North Korea. All these things are happening around us. This is how they can't physically take us down. Our military is too strong, our nation's too big, but they can plant little things called ideas.
Right.
That we fight so much that we do not see what's going on. North Korea is now going to Russia for a meeting. What do you think they're talking about?
Yeah.
Like, hey, how did you do that? How can we get on that? Like, this is where we don't have to agree. We don't have to like each other, but we need to get back to respecting each other. You didn't vote for Trump? Cool. I did. Respect me. I respect you. Let's talk about something else. We really need to get back to that because the real villains in this, they're still gaining.
Right.
Like, he's not a criminal. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry our president is not treasonous. I'm sorry his team's not. Did he do bad things? Acting a fool? Listen, I get accused of eating something I didn't, I do the same thing.
Yes.
True.
I don't know how I would, I'm not a political person. I know nothing about politics. I don't know nothing about the law. So, but I've been a boss. So I would say it's like, why can't I fire this guy? Why can't I take a meeting with this guy? My ignorance is not stupidity. It's just, this is not my world. That's why when I look at Trump, I just assume he is a boss who goes like, well, why can't I fire that guy? And why can't I take a meeting with this person? And let's tweet this. They're trying to criminalize kind of common everyday behavior.
I don't know why they're so obsessed with getting the report that's not redacted. We already know no collusion, no obstruction. What do they think these little blacked out marks are going to say?
Jaywalking.
P.S. Trump is just
Late bill
Putin in a
play.
Trump suit. Like, I don't understand what they think it's going to say.
Foul language in front of elderly women.
All right.
Well, if that's a crime.
We're going to move on because we got
Hair
more stuff.
products.